Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I'm your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast, we talk all things dating and relationships in this modern day. Today, we have a guest, so we're just gonna hop right into it. Guys, there's so many people that reach out to me and like, oh, I wanna come on your podcast. We should do content together. I'm like, absolutely not. I would never do content with you. That's why I'm excited to introduce today's guest. Oh God, I'm gonna mess this up.
Give it another try. Come on, it's not your typical British name.
Yeah, no, it's not British at all.
It's not British at all, no. Imthiaz.
Imthiaz.
There we go. We got there in the end.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, you went from convict to personal development coach.
Yeah.
So walk me through how you got from there to coach.
So in my previous life, let's call it that, I was heavily involved in crime.
In your previous life?
In my previous
in this life.
In this life was my previous
Okay, fine.
Previous sort of occupation, let's put it that way. Landed me in hot water, ended up in prison, got sentenced to 7 years, did 3.5 in prison, served 3.5 in the community.
Okay.
And then my license finished earlier this year in April. In the UK, a lot, depending what offence you've committed, you serve. So mine was a 7-year sentence. 3.5 years were in confinement.
Okay.
And then the rest is on probation, so on and so forth.
Okay, got it.
So in the community, so we call it a license.
Also, welcome to Dubai. How do you like it?
I love it. I love it. I came in May for the first time actually, and it's my sort of place. There's a couple of things that stand out for me in Dubai in regards to like it's a meritocracy. If you add value to the country, to the economy, to society, you will in due course be rewarded.
Yeah.
A lot of people get that back up about it and think, oh, that's wrong, and they talk about, the workers and whatnot, and they have a rough time, and yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
However, even if you put that into context, the value that they're adding and the pay that they're getting is equal. And also in regards to when you take it back to their own country, they're better off, working here. So so there's that element.
They could always go back home if they wanted to.
Yeah, you can always fuck off. So it's a pure meritocracy. And I think as well with the leader, for me, is like, once again, he rewards hard work. And that's what it's about. And people who talk badly or aren't really for Dubai, typically people who are offended by hard work.
Actually, though.
Yeah, people back home are like, I'd never live in Dubai. Obviously, I've not moved here yet. This is like a scouting mission. I'm looking to move next year. Yeah, of course. I'd never live in Dubai.
Yeah.
Have you ever been? No.
I see so many comments on certain things and they're like, oh, you couldn't pay me enough to go to Dubai. I only hear bad things about Dubai. It's like, because you've never been here.
And you're only looking for the bad things about Dubai.
Yeah,
you're not
of course.
For the positives.
Of course. There's so much good stuff happening here. Sure. Anyway, enough about that. So tell me about prison.
Prison. Okay, so prison in the UK it's not that
Where
bad.
in the UK are you from?
I'm from Stoke-on-Trent. You've never heard of that?
It's near Manchester.
Yeah, so it's halfway between Birmingham. You might have heard of Birmingham before.
Yeah.
And halfway between Manchester.
That actually, I could hear both.
yeah. So we're in the middle.
Okay, fine.
So prison. I was 26 when I went in. In 2018, and before that, obviously, I was committing crime involved with drugs, that sort of stuff.
Wait, okay, rewind. You put in prison for what reason?
So conspiracy to supply Class A drugs.
Okay, fine.
Cocaine. So I got caught with 2 kilos of cocaine.
Okay, that's intense.
Naughty boy, I know. But yeah, in the beginning, I wasn't really accepting my sentence. I was like, okay, these cunts took the best years of my life from me.
Yeah.
At the age of 26, which isn't true. But that's what I thought at the time.
Yeah. I mean, your 20s are like meant to be fun, right? Like you want to experience your 20s.
Yeah, but I also, because I was only 26, I also thought, these are going to be my peak years.
Yeah,
and as you get older and you cross that 30-year-old threshold where a lot of people have mental breakdowns when it comes to turning 30 and then 40. And that's what I noticed with men, because men feel like I should have it all figured out by now. I assume women kind of, when they're coming up to that threshold of 30, they're like, I should have babies by now. I should be with someone I want to get married with, so on and so forth. And there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. On that sort of thing. So yeah, going back to the prison story, my first thoughts were, I'm going to come out, I'm going to continue what I was doing before, until I started to meet people who've been in the prison system for a long time.
Okay.
And I thought, I don't want to be anything like that, because prison is a revolving door, and it doesn't really reform people. I was meeting people And like I said, they'd been in prison, in and out, and it was an occupational hazard. That's how it was described to me. And I thought, these are the peak years of my life. I don't want to repeat this process again, because the next time I come in, if it's the same thing, then I'm going to be here till my 40s. That's when I got into education, started this whole personal development journey, started reading books. Then COVID hit. COVID was a blessing.
It really was. I think COVID, yes, I think COVID for a lot of people are either you went fully in on yourself and like you made that the transition year, or you took a step back and it went the complete opposite direction.
Exactly that. People either talk about COVID as being almost like a rebirth.
Oh my God, it was such a good time.
Yeah. Why was it good for you?
I was going through a breakup, so I felt like super lonely, but it also was just so much becoming myself again and like learning what I liked, and had the opportunity to do what I actually wanted to do and start what I wanted to start. And just like, I feel like all of the pieces kind of started there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's exactly what it was for me.
Yeah.
And we were only allowed out of our cells for half an hour a day.
Oh gosh, that sucks.
I absolutely loved it, because I'd set up my day. So I'd be
You're like, everyone else is locked up. So
yeah, I was like, fuck you. So I'd set up my day. I'd train in my cell in the morning, pray. I would then, I'd have different books I was reading at the time. So it was like I created my own curriculum.
Yeah.
So there was like, I was reading a lot about Warren Buffett. That led me on to stocks and shares, and then accounting, and then also looked at sales and marketing, and then also had a background knowledge of the human body. So the marriage of those subjects essentially allowed me to come out and start with my personal training.
Oh, that's awesome. You made the most out of your time there.
You'd think it's the time to self-reflect, but people run away from that self-reflection.
Well, yeah.
Because if you aren't periodically spending time on self-reflecting, I do it on a daily basis, ultimately allow me to correct the trajectory of my life and allow me to become the person that I wanted to be.
We have so much time during the day, and I think most people will escape that time into like things like their phone or like just distractions. Whereas if you really gave that time back to yourself and like invested in whatever it is, or like sat with yourself and meditated, or just sat and thought about what's going on in your life, you'd be so much further along than the distractions that you're numbing your brain with.
Exactly that. And I feel like, first of all, people don't know what the fuck they want.
See, that's the problem.
That's number one. Okay.
Yeah.
Some people do know what they want, but they don't know how to get there. And then they claim overwhelm. The key ingredient in overwhelm is chaos.
Yeah.
Okay. So managing your time. And I know it's not sexy. It don't sound cool. Okay. But managing your time is key, because if you don't manage your time, somebody else or something else will control it for you. So it's boring. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. But if you do that, you'll be a lot further along than you would be otherwise.
I think some people know that they want something, but not necessarily that they don't know how to get there, because you can literally go to ChatGPT, how do I get from where I'm at now, and go there. But I think there's beliefs that we have and we hold on to that, like, oh, I'm not worth what I think I want or what I want.
Imposter syndrome, and proof that you're leveling up, that you are pushing to that next level. So if you aren't if you're not feeling imposter syndrome, you're doing something wrong. And another thing about imposter syndromes, real imposters, people who are actually trying to be an imposter, they don't feel imposter syndrome. They just don't want to get caught. Yeah. There's a difference. They're not scared about not being good enough. They're just scared about getting caught. So if you're not feeling imposter syndrome, you're doing something wrong with your life.
I actually really like that take. I do want to add like a little bit of value here of like a male's perspective on things. I know something that we talked about before was like traditional values, and how you thought that my thought process, I guess, differed in that area, because I think that I have traditional values, but I also feel like it's like a modern twist.
So traditional, obviously I come from a Muslim background.
Right,
so
okay,
fine.
fine.
I'm born to a Muslim household, but I'm a Muslim, okay? And the traditional for us is don't date as per se. You get to know, okay? But you're not out there dating in the modern sense of the word. Okay. There's no sexual relationships before marriage.
Okay, fine.
Okay? And then you get married, and then you get to know the person, and you fall in love with the person, that sort of thing. Is it perfect? No. I'm not saying it is. However, it's more perfect than the other options that are available. The modern approach to dating and the old school way of building a relationship. Yeah.
I think the old school way is like more logical of like, okay, this makes sense. Let's figure it out. You guys can grow together. Whereas the new modern is all based on like, I feel some type of way about this person. It's all based on emotions.
All feelings and emotions are temporary.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Because you can be happy now, and you can wake up with the same circumstances tomorrow and be really fucking sad.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not based on logic. They're very temporary. So you're basing a relationship, a commitment that you're gonna make for the rest of your life, based on something that's temporary.
No, and I agree with you. I think, but I think that there's a balance between having the logic and having the emotions.
Of course.
In it.
Yeah, but I think the logic has to come first.
Yeah. But that's how you date better. I think way too many women especially move off of, well, I really like him. Okay, what do you like about him? They can't even answer that question. It's just a familiar feeling that they've felt from whatever they've gone through in the past.
The more you play over that cycle, the more you date, and the more cycles of relationship breakdown, so on and so forth you go through, the less likely you are to make an informed decision. A lot of the time, not all the time, a lot of the time, because like I said, you lean into familiarity.
That's how I used to date, and I think way too many women nowadays date with just the emotion.
Try before you buy.
Yeah, let him show you who he is before you attach your feelings to it.
So I'm gonna apologize for one thing, because I've got your approach wrong. From just looking at your content, because I see a lot of man hate shit
from me.
You touch on it.
I do touch on it because I don't think that a lot of men have much to offer.
But this is the thing.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm a big advocate of in general. Like I said, the women that you coach then, or you coach them to desire a man who's got a lot to offer. Okay? Is that right?
I coach them on becoming their best selves in order to attract the person that, yes, is that.
Okay. So ultimately the end goal is that person.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if that's the end goal, and all women want that end goal of that man who's in the top 15, 20 percentile, okay, what happens to the rest of the 80% of guys?
They have to step up or step out.
But there's got to be winners and losers. But a lot of women who wouldn't get with a guy because he hasn't got things to offer. He might look a certain way. He might not be there yet financially, not there at the moment, as well as other things, okay? A lot of the time, they need to take a look back at their dad. What was his dad like? Times have changed.
Yeah.
That's my point. And the post I put up today was what makes for a good man or a strong man. Back in the day, you had to just be a provider.
Yeah.
That was good enough. Now you have to look a certain way. You have to be physically capable. You have to be able to provide financially. You've also got to be able to display emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And that's fucking hard because we're logical creatures. You've got to learn to speak the other person's language. Women and what's pushed in terms of man hate, there's no accountability on that side of things. We know, we can agree that men and women speak different languages, right? Okay. So I'm an advocate of being emotionally intelligent, right? Okay. So not being such a caveman, sometimes putting away your logical brain and putting yourself in the other person's shoes and thinking, okay, what is actually going on in the woman's mind?
Yeah.
Okay. There's very little attempt from what I've seen of, and this is purely based on the internet and content and what's pushed out there in terms of messaging. Okay. You basically. In regards to like, okay, thinking logically. And one person who I've heard speak about this is Layla Hormozy.
Okay.
She's a G. Because she's come out and said, I've had to masculinize the way that I think, not in a negative way, but in terms of a logical way, because it allows me to be with my husband in a better manner. Yeah. And I think when you hear Alex speak as well, he's very in touch with his emotions. You know, he doesn't give into them. He's not at the mercy of his emotions, but he's fully aware of them. Yeah. I think that's why those two work really well. So there has to be give and take on both sides. Yeah. You know, one side shouldn't be pandering to the other. There should come from a place of understanding.
I agree. I think from both sides you can have that. It's funny you say this because I think maybe you might be thinking from the lens of yourself, but there's so many men that aren't taking accountability, stepping up and trying to be emotionally intelligent.
I'll be real with you. It's hard. You've heard this before, you know, as a man, there's a lot of pressures on a man. I'm not saying there's any less on women. There's different sorts of pressures. When their battery has been drained and it comes to the end of the day and then it's time all of a sudden to be emotionally intelligent, you're going to get a caveman. That's what you're going to get. You're like food, bed, you know, so on and so forth. And that's probably not the time. So I think picking a time where because we have to work hard at that. Yeah. It doesn't come naturally to men to be that sort of way.
Yeah, I think it just has to come from both sides. But I feel like a lot of women, especially ones that I deal with, will try to date men who are in their building phases. Yeah. And I think I hear a lot of men say like, oh yeah, I want a woman who is there for me during my building phase. But I don't think that there's a lot of men who are like really open to allowing a woman to come in during that phase of his life.
I'll be real with you. If you're in a building phase, and I'm still in building phase, unless you get like a ride or die, she understands that your time isn't going to be spent on her.
Yeah.
That every waking moment is going to be spent on pretty much on your projects and whatever you're working on, because the payoff is down the line. What tends to happen is women have this notion that I want an ambitious guy. I want a guy who's got drive, you know?
Yeah.
Until they get with that sort of guy and they're like,
it's like, okay, that's a lot.
We can't go out when I want to go out. We can't go do the little nice things and, you know, take the pictures in the nice places so I can stunt on my own friends. If you're really about it and you can deal with that side of things being, sometimes it's going to be lonely for you.
Yeah.
You know, unless you can leave the guy alone.
Do you think though that there are men that they're like, no, I have to do this by myself because I don't think that anyone will accept me?
Yeah, the stupid ones, because no empire is built in isolation. You have to have some sort of team support network. Yeah. Of course you do. But a dysfunctional support network is going to ruin everything. So I'd rather have, you know, my advice would be is if you haven't got a functional, fully supportive network, whether it's friends, whether it's a partner, whatever, that moves you towards your goal and gives you what you need. So down the line, you can then repay that debt almost and just leave it alone.
Would you recommend women date a man during that time period?
No.
Okay, why not?
Because women in general haven't got those attributes in terms of understanding and being patient to that degree, because it's hard. It is hard.
It is hard, yeah. You know? It's like your needs aren't fully going to be met, but like if you stick around long enough. Yeah. But also I think there's like that notion where people talk about how, okay, now he's made it and now he wants to find a new girl, even though you were there the entire time to support him.
Yeah, that happens as well.
So you're kind of like betting on a man's potential in a sense.
Add value to the point where if he was to go elsewhere, he isn't going to find the same value.
Okay, how can a woman add value to a man?
So what I've seen work, and this is purely anecdotal from my experiences in watching people. So when they come together to actually put in on the same project, and it means just as much to each of them, and one's not there for the ride or the payoff at the end, that works really well. Yeah, so if you're looking to be like a passenger princess and waiting for this payoff, then maybe you could maybe you could be replaced. Who's going to end up with and get what you're compatible with in the end. So, you know, be better on both sides.
I think that just comes with a level of self-awareness of like, what type of person am I really? And what do I have to offer someone? And what type of person would be attracted to someone like me? I think
a better question would be, what sort of person do I want to be? The version of you now is not going to be the same compared to the version of you in 6 months' time. Life's experiences change you. Who am I trying to be? But the key thing you get asked when you're a kid is, what do you want to be? And people say, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a pilot. Not who do you want to be? Who's way more important?
What kind of life do you want?
Yeah, exactly that. So I think when you look at it through that lens, and instead of thinking, who am I right now? Think, who do I want to be? And what sort of person fits into that life? Then I think you've got a better chance of figuring out who it is that you want to be with. Because if you you know, if you're a bit of a playboy and you're messing around, but down the line you want to settle down, you've got to be the thing before you get the thing. Yeah, you've got to create the thing in reality, like now, before you achieve that later down the line. So
do you think if a man's not ready to settle down, that if he met the perfect girl, would he end up just saying like, okay, wait, no, there's no way around this, like I have to commit to this person? Or do you think he would just end up staying single, even if the perfect girl were to come into his life?
Perfect person at the wrong time. That's what you're asking, right?
Yeah, essentially.
What's the wrong time? If you aren't ready as a man.
But what considers a man ready?
This perfect woman could be perfect when he's out of the building stage. He might not be able to facilitate what needs to be facilitated for a specific sort of woman.
If you knew like, no, I have to have this person specifically, but you weren't where you wanted to be in life, would you allow that person in?
If the other person was going to suffer because of it, then no.
Because that's not selfish at all. I feel like a lot of men think very selfishly.
So we have a prime function as
Yeah.
human beings, okay? If we step away from the spiritual, religious, so on and so forth, okay? As organisms, our main role is to reproduce. Not to survive, to reproduce, okay? So if we accept that, and scientists accept that, so on and so forth, of course we're going to think like that. Of course we're going to think like that, okay? And then that leads us down the whole argument of monogamy or polygamy, which one's right, which one's wrong. I'm not against either, you know, it depends on the person.
Yeah.
But this is exactly why I say, in regards to this whole dating thing, try before you buy, why it's dangerous. Commit early, have the big hard conversations early. Do you want to get married? How many kids do you want to have? Where do you want to live? All that sort of stuff. Don't figure it out after.
Yeah.
Because you'll part ways. Figure that shit out early.
Yeah.
Commit early, and then
The commit early is where you kind of lost me. Yeah. I think figure that stuff out early. Like, do you want the same things? Whatever.
And then commit, because if you're on the same page, if you're on the same page as someone, early doors, then commit. And I think this day and age, you've got the whole Tinder thing, you've got Hinge, you've got Bumble, and there's always a case of there's something better coming. There's something better coming.
I think it's like, it's difficult. Like, maybe in your mind, it's really hard for me to wrap my brain around, and especially like the guys that
Can
do
I ask you?
Like,
I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. And I've asked you this question, but I'm going to do it again. You're single, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? As a dating coach?
Yeah.
Why?
I just made a whole podcast episode about this, but I think honestly it comes down to timing, because like I don't think I was healed in the past, but then also had the right timing where I was settled in my life that like something could flourish. Because if you're focused on, sometimes your focus in life is meant to be in other places, so that you don't get distracted. Honestly, I feel like I'm the type of person that if I were to have met someone even a year or two ago, I wouldn't have poured as hard into my business to get it to where it is. I truly would have just been like, okay, well, I'm with someone, like, let me just like cater to them and like whatever their needs are. Whereas I feel like I needed that time by myself to like build what I need to build, and then the right time, the right place. Yeah. I'm healed now. It will happen when it's going to happen.
But yeah, that's interesting, because obviously you've got a career, you got your own business, you're coaching women, etc. And that wouldn't have been possible if there was a guy in the picture, right? All that time, okay? Because you wouldn't have been able to pour as hard into the business. Well, here's a question for you. This is your podcast. I'm a banging question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is a woman's key purpose in life?
I think everyone's purpose in life is different.
As a woman.
Yeah, you're going to bring it back to like, okay, why did God create? My opinion on this is that everyone is brought here for different reasons. I don't think for myself, I don't think my biggest purpose in life is to be someone's wife. I don't think that. Yes, I want that, but I think my bigger purpose is to like serve humanity, and I believe that in my soul.
What's the best way to serve humanity?
I feel like it's helping people reach their highest potential.
I was kind of going down that route which you mentioned, but ultimately, if you look at it from, you can look at it from a religious standpoint. Yeah.
We're bringing it back.
Yeah.
To reproduce, I get it. Okay, fine. But not everyone wants that.
I've met women and spoke to women, in fact, and they land in my DMs a lot, when they hear me talk about what I talk about.
Yeah.
Who are in their 40s.
Yeah.
Who thought they wanted that lifestyle of, I don't want kids.
Yeah.
And now they're thinking, shit. I think that innate thing, and a lot of women, I can't speak for women, I'm not a woman myself, but what the kind of interactions I've had, in the end, they want children. If you strip everything back, of course you want, to experience life and build a career and so on and so forth. But the ultimate goal for a lot of women in the end, and the thing that they're lacking sometimes, and the thing that really sets them on fire is when they have children. But once their child does come along, it's like nothing else matters. So if that is like the end goal, and that's like the thing women want the most, why delay that thing to arrive at the same destination anyway?
I don't think it's necessarily a delay. I don't think it's on my time to say when I'm going to meet someone or when I'm gonna have kids or whatever. I just like those things will happen if they're supposed to happen. Whatever is God's plan is bigger than my plan. So like, yes, I have that desire on my heart that that's what I want. But I also feel like what I'm doing and my purpose here is bigger than like being a wife and a mom and whatever. Yes, that's a big part of what I want. But I also don't think that that is like literally everything.
Yeah.
You know?
No, of course, that isn't your entire identity.
I don't want that to be my entire identity.
I mean, in the past, you've had children, but they also had vast business empires and, you know, and fought wars and all sorts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's like a natural progression. But it'd be interesting to see what you're like and when you do have kids.
I feel like you're saying there's no hope for me.
No. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is I see so many women.
Yeah.
I'm not saying women shouldn't do this, but I see so many women dedicate their time into their business, so on and so forth, and thinking that's going to make them happy. And I think I heard Chris Williamson say this, you know, you've already achieved things that you said would make you happy.
I think that there's a lot of women out there that will pour into like work and whatever because they feel like that's a coping mechanism that...
Do you feel like if you had kids that your life would be over? Because that's what I think a lot of women feel.
Sometimes I think that, but... Not necessarily. I think with the right person, then no, not necessarily. But I will say I do think that there's a reason why the happiest people are unmarried women with no kids.
Are they really happy?
Honestly, yeah, because they're getting their emotional needs met, are focused on what makes them happy and brings them like, fulfillment in life. Yes, maybe they don't have a romantic partner. Naturally, we want to be in relationships, but I would never be in a position to settle for a man that like didn't have much to offer me. Because I think women get the short end of the stick in relationships.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think it's equal.
Okay.
I think because compatibility bracket is a lot wider than what people think.
Yeah.
You know, because in terms of on the flip side of that, there are men right now who are with women that they fucking despise. So if the whole thing is to be happy, like once again, it's a fleeting emotion. We're here to procreate at the end of the day, and do it in a fashion where the children aren't affected negatively because of bad things going on in the relationship. That's the goal. Okay, so in regards to that, this whole settling thing, like when people say settle, like it's a bad word.
You know,
what is settling? Like your mum settled for your dad. What are you on about? Don't give it.
First of all, don't talk about my mom.
I'm talking about you. I'm talking to the person there. I'm throwing it out there. But do you know what I mean? Like anyone listening, I don't want to settle for a man, or I don't want to settle for a girl, whatever. Your parents settle for each other, believe it or not.
Okay, but like put your parents aside because you're not your parents anymore. If you've done the work and you've poured into yourself, you've become emotionally intelligent, you've healed from the shit that your parents have put you through, you are doing well on your own, you have everything going on. Like, why would you settle?
What is settling? Is that beneath you?
When I say settling, I'm saying I wouldn't be with a man just to curve loneliness. I wouldn't just be with any guy. I think a lot of women end up in relationships. In my past relationship, I settled for him knowing that this isn't right for me, knowing that we don't want the same things, knowing that we're not aligned on a lot of our values.
That's your problem.
Of course, but I settled. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not my problem. Yeah. I learned a lot through that.
History shows us, and like I said, we only go off data. When people are left to make their own decisions, more so women, in terms of who they're going to marry and have kids with, they make poor decisions. What do we do from here? Where do we go?
Heal so that you don't.
No, but historically, this is the thing. You can do all the healing, sit under a fucking bonsai tree and sing Kumbaya all you want. Yeah, you can do all that shit.
Okay.
But we know men and women
speak
different languages. Women are more emotional and think emotionally and think in thoughts and feelings and emotions, right? Men are way more logical. In terms of making decisions, right? Women tend to, because of their emotionality, because of the feelings that they have and then don't have, make poorer decisions when it comes to picking partners. Doesn't it make sense for the man to make the decision for you like they used to back in the day? I'm just throwing this out there. People used to go to their dad.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to go to somebody's dad and be like, I want to marry your daughter. He would then have to go and find out who I was, have the right conversations, see if I'm a good fit, and then consent Doesn't that system work better?
I don't know much about this. I could see where it would work. I will give you that. I can see where it would work. Yeah. But also, I wouldn't want someone to make the decision for me.
Even if it's a better decision than what you could make.
I feel pretty in tune with my intuition.
Gabby, your track record says otherwise.
Okay, first of all, you don't know my track record. I think I've learned a lot through the people that I've dated. And moving forward, I think that the quality of people that I'm coming across are much better than the quality of people that I was entertaining.
Was your past relationship in the US?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I did have, obviously, questions that I posted on Instagram.
Ooh.
And so I want to get a male's perspective on these questions. I asked, what are the most confusing things about men? Mm-hmm. And there was like an overwhelming...
You're putting a lot of pressure on me because I feel like I'm a spokesperson for all men.
You are the spokesperson for all men right now. No, honestly. Okay, so there was a lot of people that responded, but a lot of people that responded had the same things that was confusing. The highest number of comments were the switch up that guys do. So like when they go from, oh my God, I'm in love with you, you're perfect, we're going to plan this life together, basically love bombing. And like, or maybe not even love bombing, but like showing a lot of like attention, care, and affection early on, and then changing their mind when it's like 2-3 months in. What are your thoughts on that?
Stop getting in bed with him.
What if that's off the table and that's not happening?
Then you're going to find out who's real and who's not.
Yeah. Do you think it's just that though? Even if they're like, yeah, I'm so set on wanting a relationship, are they saying that to be manipulative? Or are they saying that?
Not necessarily manipulative. Like I said to you, men think with their dick. Yeah. So you've got to help them and take that out of the equation completely.
Okay.
Completely.
What do you think is like a good time to wait before that happens?
Religiously still marriage.
Okay, fine.
Okay, but in this day and age, we know that's not happening.
Yeah.
Okay. It's difficult for me to advise because I don't know your demographic, but what I will say is until you meet their parents, if you met a boy's parents, then it's serious.
That's tricky because I've known a lot of girls that are like, well, he took me around his mom and he took me around his family. And then they slept with them and he was showing her that there was a future there. And then 2 months down the line, he like freaked out and was like, I can't do this. It's too much.
Yeah. So once again, the problem comes up. Would you say the problem is when they sleep with him? That switch up happens.
I see that's where I'm like, I don't know that that's necessarily true because I've met so many couples that have slept together on the first like couple of weeks that are happily together and that didn't change anything.
It can happen. It can happen. But
do you think that's the exception to the rule?
That is the exception to the rule because look, we can only go off, like I say, I keep referring to this, the track record. Where do relationships stand the test of time? And that is sex after marriage, not before. So when you've had to get on a public situation and you've committed to this person, you've gone past the parents, meeting each other's parent stage, you're having a wedding, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to say, you know what?
To just hold out as long as you can.
Yeah, which is difficult this day and age. And I do empathize because it's, in terms of the media, everything's sexualized, music sexualized, movies sexualized. You know, we push this whole romantic thing.
Yeah.
You know, you find that person and then you fall in love, and it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Don't believe anything in regards to what you see on social media, what your life should look like. Don't believe those people that you kind of semi-know and you feel like they've got it all together. What I would say is really think about the who. Who do you want to be and who do you want to attract? For women, it is difficult because men will lie and women will lie as well.
Yeah.
Women are just as bad. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
So there's key checkpoints I believe you've got to hit. You know, and mine wasn't. You know, my past hasn't been in this trajectory, but looking back and looking at things from a point of view where I did mess up, the checkpoints you've got to hit are, you know, meeting each other's family, your family's meeting each other, and then moving towards making it, you know, getting engaged, so on and so forth, and then making it public knowledge in terms of a marriage. Those tend to last better. Those tend to be more fruitful. Yeah. And provide a better environment for kids to be brought up in.
We only have a little bit of time left, so I can't really get to these, but let me just see if there's any like quick ones. What do you think would make a man stay?
If he wants to leave.
Okay.
If he's going to leave, he's going to leave.
Okay, fine.
So don't disrespect yourself. In terms of actually keeping a man, is we're simple creatures, man.
I know. I feel like women overcomplicate it.
We don't want to hear noise. We don't want to be nagged. We don't want. That's it, really. We just want a stress-free environment.
Yeah.
If you give a guy a stress-free environment, you're golden.
Okay. I have so much to say about that, but okay, we'll wrap it up. Anyway, that is it for this week's episode. If you want to plug yourself, where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. I'll spell out my name. IMTHIAZ_GHULAM. Imthiaz_Ghulam.
Okay, awesome. Well, I will see you guys all next Tuesday.